thinking they're falling a little flat, right? Dropping a map here against Virtuoso, dropping a map against the Fortnite Fraggers. That all gets washed away. It's kind of that Sentinels theory where they didn't make it earlier in stage 2, but then they end up winning all of stage 2. You know, the blunders along the way don't matter if you make it count. So I'm interested to see if that is going to be the case here, as there's only going to be the only controllers here are going to be those Vipers. So it's really going to be up to Ellie and Ian to be locking down these sites. And that's typical to see on ICEBOX, right? But I know that the Omen sometimes still gets some play. I know some teams like to swing the Brimstone here. So this is going to be interesting for me to see.
Yeah, absolutely. The SONIQS, this is the same comp that they pretty much always are run. Actually, no, is this a bit of a switch up? I know there was some time where they were experimenting with a Sky, but I don't mind the double duelist. Let Dizzy do Dizzy things. Dizzy is really strong as a jet player. He's a really good opper. And I feel like with some of the adaptations of SONIQS been having with some of their comps, there's less and less maps where he gets to play his jet and he gets to op. So I like that they're giving him that opportunity. Same with Plix. Oftentimes he's playing on that Sky, and here he gets to go back onto his classic raids, have some fun, play a lot looser. I think that when SONIQS can play loose and let all these really talented individuals go crazy, that's when this team can pop off and be at its best. But talking about that side of Virtuoso, it's kind of a similar story, just they're rocking with the single duelist and bringing in that KJ. So without further ado, now we are into the pistol round here, and Dizzy taking a bit of information over to his opponents off that recon dart. He'll pull back.
And all 5 stacked up, so no lurker out towards B or out towards mid for Virtuoso. They are just looking to take the fight right to him as they look to pick up the alt orb. A-Pod up close and personal, I would imagine, has that barrier orb, but is going to have to answer to Dizzy Life, who can just go up on top of that wall should they look to push. Now that the toxic screen is going down, Dizzy is here, but only for a moment, as Bob is able to trade one back. Not on the spike just yet. A-Pod is still alive, but only for a second as well. The wall goes up, and you can see what they were trying to do. Unfortunately, it gets stunted, and with Bob still alive, gonna single-handedly thwart the team for now. ICEBOX takes one to the side of the head, and Bob finds 4 on the round. Sonic will pick up the pistol. Mimi, you're right. This is a little bit of a change for this composition.
Yeah.
Bob is not typically on the Sova. I believe Bob is typically on the Viper. Ian is usually playing the Sentinel. So they are theory crafting a little bit. They are mixing things up quite a bit. And I mean, Sova or not for Bob, that was one hell of a pistol round.
Yeah, that was a really big one. This comp is a little bit interesting. It looks like we are on a bit of a tech pause for a moment here, but that gives us more time to talk about what SONIQS is pulling out. Like you mentioned, Bob is normally the Viper player. Pretty much everyone on this team, besides Crunchy, plays Viper at least occasionally. Like, this is like a full team of flexible players who are sometimes pulling out the Viper, but I think she's really good when you do put Bob into that Sova. So giving a bit more flexibility to that Sova play gives more initiation, allows you to create a bit more space. I think it's what their ICEBOX might have needed to spice things up, because really since they came to NA, they had been playing the same kind of stagnant style for a month or two, and teams had started to read into that. They got 2-0'd by FPLC recently. FPLC picking up ICEBOX. When you play the same comp, the same setup consistently, that's when you can get counter-stratted. So I'm glad to see the SONIQS adapting a little bit.
And the SONIQS are also kind of coming up on that window that they set for themselves, right? They said within 6 months, we should be top 4 in North America. And they're coming up on that 6-month mark. I think the first matchup that they played was back in April, and you know, so things are getting dire. Maybe it was either the beginning of April or the end of March. So you know, you're about halfway through where you set yourself, and if you're looking at it realistically, I mean, probably not even in the top 10. So they are crunching down on that window. And speaking of crunch, it's not Crunchy to do it, it's Dizzy instead with the Marshall to find one, make it a second. Sniper will fall, and it's just pistols. It's just a Marshall, but it looks good when you do it like that. A 3K for the Jet. Blades just around the corner, but Plix isn't having it. No, it's Bob instead. So Hunter Shuri nearly online. A 4K matched for Dizzy Life to Bob in the first 2 rounds, and a flawless one for the SONIQS.
Very nice round there from the SONIQS. They just get a bit aggressive, shut things down nice and cleanly. And you brought up that point about how they were kind of aiming for the top 4. Right now, I think they're like technically ranked around 9th, but I wouldn't want to really put them in a place in that top 10 yet, because the last time we got to see them up against like the top tier NA competition was right when they got here. They had that opening match versus the Sentinels where, if I recall correctly, they took them 13-11 on ICEBOX. They were doing really well. They impressed a lot of people with that. So I'm excited. Next VCT stage, what are these guys going to be able to pull out? Will they be able to kind of cement their spot in the tier 1, and while continuing to win these smaller tourneys will definitely set them on the right course.
Cloudburst's gonna stop any information from that recon bolt for now, as he not only grabbed the orb but does have the ult online after that 4K down to the last. And oh my goodness, Knives offline. Play the windows closing his sound there as Jet v Jet. Unfortunately, Dizzy on the other end of a headshot as Lin looks to find some more, shooting through that toxic screen. The spike slowly creeping up, but I mean, this is a tough spot to be in for Virtuoso, right? They're gaining all this space. They have that first kill, but you're stuck in this ult orb choke point, and you don't want to hang out there for too long. So we'll see if they do start to pull the trigger on this one, start to move forward. Lin finds another sniper off the back end, so nobody can have a 4K this time around unless it's Plix. Another paint shells looking to buy some space. Has the spike down, spots the head of Iconic up towards Pipes. Unfortunately, to be in the receiving end of a headshot, as was Dizzy. And Ian got a tall task here. Sheriff in hand, and it is just the bonus round for the SONIQS, but you would have liked to pick this one up, especially with all that chaos towards A.
Ellie in the perfect position to shut this down. Will deal the killing blow onto Ian and put Virtuoso on the map there. I like the way they're kind of playing with Viper as a solo controller here. You notice on your minimap there that they've been placing this wall B every time. They've been conditioning with kind of that default wall, and now they're finally going to capitalize off of it. They're going to go off of this and make something work here. I love the way you can play Viper as an agent that's so strong for conditioning, because I think that ICEBOX is one of those maps where you don't have to rely on smokes in the same way you do on, like, say, mid-ascent or something along those lines. You can commit them in a more passive way. Commit them the same place every round to try and build up that pressure. That's exactly what they're doing here. So they're just going to try and walk up B, make a sneaky play here for Virtuoso.
Yeah, this is really a map that you get a whole lot more value out of that damaging utility. Rather than smoking things off, you're wanting to use the aftershocks, the paint shells, the nano swarms to clear out corners. So yeah, I think that just to kind of piggyback off of your point of really only needing the Viper, and the smokes are in the only spots you really need them. Over towards the site B, Dizzy Life finds a kill out towards A. Barrier orb gonna go down as well, and the spike could be planted here shortly. Maybe a lineup from that one, and yeah, it is actually gonna be a huge lineup. Ian goes nuclear there, shows us a bit of the work that they've been doing offline to not only stop the plant, but to find a kill through it and completely deter this B push. Like you said, Mimi, they were kind of conditioning SONIQS to this Virtuoso by walling B going A, but they read it perfectly. SONIQS making sure that this Virtuoso deficit, it stays more than one.
30 seconds
Dizzy
left.
is still here with the op, and he still has tailwind. This allows him to take an aggressive line, find an early fight here. That's exactly what he'll do, but he misses the shot. Updraft dash back. He's joined now by Crunchy down on the low ground. Crunchy needs to pull out his weapon, but Lin finds a shot in time, looking to greed for the recovery. Iron in close, Lin in a tight spot, but he has the tailwind to get out if need be.
And unfortunately for Ian, used all the utility to try and flush out this jet, right? Those snake bites were used on the opposite side of the map. Hunter Shuri is available. Recon Bolt gonna get information onto Sniper, and it was all up to Sniper. Ian with a nice little 3K. That first one coming the way over by B site. And I mean, that lineup is definitely something of beauty to see, and something that we probably start to see in our solo queue games, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really like that deny plant with the lineup, but what allowed that to work so perfectly for the SONIQS was Dizzy Life. He saw off of that, if you remember, there was an initial drone up towards mid there, and that drone bought a lot of space, but then Dizzy just went aggressive with the op. He found a pick in towards the man kind of lurking outside mid. That gave them all the information they needed, and as soon as the team of Virtuoso was forced to regroup, was forced to make that rotation, SONIQS was ready. Really well done on that round from the SONIQS. They find themselves up 3-1, but Virtuoso does still have money as Plix is making a big play here.
And I think Plix made a step inside of Nest, so in a bad spot, forced to use that blast pack to get away. Does do so, but not before taking some damage. And I love this kind of back and forth, the buddy system they had going on. If anybody pushed to try and find that kill onto Plix, Dizzy Life was there holding belt down with the operator in hand. There's the shot on target. Iconic, the first to fall here, and it's Dizzy Life again. I believe it was last round and this round. Iconic fell to the operator, and it's Dizzy Life starting to put SONIQS in the driver's seat now. 2 rounds in a row, maybe 3 rounds in a row after the 4K with the Marshall. But either way, still an operator to worry about towards this A site. The spike is here, and I mean, this is what we've seen from Virtuoso every time they try to hit A. They just creep up towards the alt door. They try and creep onto the site. They are able to make it through this time around, but Sniper sniffed out, taking some damage. This is just not for free.
Not free whatsoever. Sniper could make a big play here. The wall keeps him protected for the moment, and he's looking to try and edge out a fight here. Needs something to regain advantage from Virtuoso, but both Bob and Dizzy are holding. They spot out his head. He needs to either commit to this fight or fall away. He commits to the fight, loses it. Worst case scenario. Tough scenes for Virtuoso, and Plix is keeping up the aggression, trying to punish this one. They line up, but he only gets 1 still. Down to 2. Plix still pushing. Plix still fighting. Apoth stuck on the side of 410. And the lurk does find one. Iron gone, but it gives the information. Spike's not planted for him. Crunchy has the shutdown. SONIQS have 4, losing only 1 body in that.
And I believe this is their 5th time. Their 6th, I guess, out of 31 games now with this composition. And I haven't seen the other games played on it, but like you were saying, they're kind of getting a bit more predictable. So this looks really good for this SONIQS squad. Virtuoso also seeming a bit predictable in that A play. Not that I'm this huge big brain, tell these guys what to do and how they should do it here in this, but you know, pushing up again towards that alt orb and kind of just hanging out. There's no give and take, right? They're not doing this teeter-totter. They're not moving back and forth. They're not really making SONIQS have to guess where they're going. They've been kind of obvious about it, or pretty blatant about it. And now on an eco round, they're gonna be walking right back into the operator of Dizzy Life. At this point, with A not working, I mean, Dizzy Life alone should be enough to deter this Virtuoso squad. As I say it though, shot goes wide. Sight taken. Viper's picking to be used. There's a showstopper for Plix. Lin now taking off the board and a boombot kill on top of it. That's the Viper's pit down. Sniper is there to trade 1 kill out, but you can only do so much with the Stinger. Napoth, a very spooky spot. The frenzy shots are on target. Dizzy Life goes wide, and they punish him for it. 2v3 situation. Make it a 1v3 situation. Iconics needs to do so much, and he will fall to Bob. SONIQS with the 5th round here in this. A couple of guns should they want to pick them up, and that is an eco round. They did make the economy hurt a little bit, but Virtuoso just struggling to find their footing here, Mimi.
They're really having a rough one in getting things going here. I don't think we've mentioned this yet. In this new look, with Iron switching over to the Viper, they're changing the way they're setting up this Viper wall. You can see him putting it up right now. This one leans really heavily into the A retake because he can just pop that up. They completely gain front sight control. Players that are playing further back, maybe trying to use an op, maybe trying to use lineups, are isolated from their team. We've seen it in all of these consistent A retakes that they just get isolated. They get shut down. And the thing is that it's not like B-side is free without that Viper wall. Iron still is always putting up this one way. He still has his mollies to work with to shut down that choke. So definitely enjoying seeing this new look out of the SONIQS. And Virtuoso, well, they're definitely struggling against it. However, Lin, he's kind of crept up a little bit here towards Kitchen. Could try and get something done.
Oh, the shot just
Okay,
wide.
Crunchy.
Yeah, Crunchy finding a huge kill there, and Ian mixing things up over towards B Long, playing nice and aggressive. Is going to get tagged up by the Decay just a bit. Didn't buy up armor from that last round, so 46 armor, 100 HP for the Viper here in that one. And I think the way that you kind of have to play that Viper setup, because the one-way is terrifying, you have to get information over towards A. As I say that, Ellie looks for some information. Ian gonna sit him down. Lin to be resurrected. That inside two gives a lot of information as to where this team is looking to play. Dizzy Life will fall. The operator's taken off the board. Lin goes down again here in this round. So just zero value out of the jet for Virtuoso. Stings
30 seconds.
tremendously with that owl drone. They're able to get the information. Lockdown through, but not in a great spot. Virtuoso trying to find their next round. Bob is here to try and shut it down, forced to back away, link up with the team. Resurrection available, but I don't think there's any bodies really in a great spot unless you're trying to run up and grab clicks right there.
Hunter's Fury here, if it gets into the late round, but Apoth should be revealed by that.
Wow.
Up comes this wall. This keeps him a bit safe. Iconic swings forward, but runs out of ammo. It's Crunchy with 3, and he brings Bob back into the equation. However, Iconic make a huge play, doubles down and crosses past Ian. Back to back. He backs straight into Ian, and now Ian can try and hold this. Hunter's Fury already expelled. Recon's there, so are the shocks, but it could be too late. Second shot,
my
not
God.
connecting. 1 HP on Sniper. Spikes half. There's time. Ian has the clutch.
Wow, that is insane. And what hurts the most is that that second shock dart did damage, just not enough. Ian snuck away just enough to get away from death, or to escape death in that. And I'd said, what does Crunchy do? Go up here, and it wasn't Plix, it was actually Bob to get resurrection. So Iconic comes up huge with this. It's tactical shooter timing, right? Didn't spot Ian pushing through or out of the Viper's pit and walking right into the crosshair there. That stings. Virtuoso, that one was looking to swing their way, but it gets stolen out from under their feet as SONIQS push to 6. And now all Virtuoso can hope for on this attacking side is an even half, and it's been looking pretty dire.
Take flight.
4 retakes now in a row, 4 defuses in a row for SONIQS to have won, but we have to wait a second to talk about that, because that was a fantastic time, and they go past the drone, but Bob's still ready with 1.
Bob picks up 1 in the play out towards mid. This is not something that you see a lot of the time. It does force out a barrier orb, and there's a barrier orb to try and spot or plant in a different spot, but Ian is there to snip it out. It's another 3K for the Viper.
Ian doing a ton of work right now. Multi-kill after multi-kill. Seems like he's always been playing this Viper. Feeling very confident, very comfortable right now. And Bob on their new agent as well. Switches things on over to the Sova and picking things right off. And now, I mean, for Virtuoso, what can they change up here? What's the call? Every time they're attempting this B site, Ian's just playing a new funky off angle, shutting them down, or it's just the commitment to the retake. Because remember that Molly we saw earlier? There's tons of creative ways that SONIQS has managed to shut down these plans. So it feels like for them, A is where they have to go. But look at Dizzy. He's so aggressive here and somehow escapes with his life.
Hunter Shuri online here from Bob, looking for something, maybe pushing up towards mid. Not going to find anything there, but like you said, Dizzy escaping narrowly with his life. I believe legged through the wall by the operator in the hands of Lin. So you get a second chance at life here in round number 9. Ellie on a huge lurk here, but it's going to be sniffed out. Oh, takes Crunchy down, though. Crunchy had all the information some way. It still falls the way of Virtuoso.
Scanning ahead.
Bob grabs another Iconic. Now to fall. Blades are online for Dizzy Life. Lin taken down, so no blades online for the opposite end. And Ian is continuing to do what they do best. Up top, though, Bob trying to rain down fire. Not able to find it. A resurrection. This one looking to swing the way back in favor of Virtuoso with the res on the back end. Plix forced to back away. Ian now bringing up the rear, but very low HP on this raise. And shells go through. Iconic finally able to get something done. Ian brings up the rear. It's another 3K looking for 4. Snakebite gonna buy some time, but 46 HP is separating Virtuoso from their second round win. The screen goes up. Iconic with spike in hand, has the angle, and Ian cannot find the shots. Iconic gets it done.
by the skin of their teeth. Virtuoso managed to pull out a second, but the fact it got that close is so telling because, I mean, he was just able to isolate two completely free frags here. No trade potential. They're peeking one at a time. Sniper there very easily could have lost the round on that solo swing, but thankfully for Virtuoso, Iconic was here, pulls off the shots in time to take down Ian. And to find that second, but again, it's no consistency because they lost 4 players in that round. The money's bad. Lin cannot even afford a rifle. He's stuck onto this Blade Storm, and there's light armor for some of his teammates. This is tough. They lose here, they're immediately reset again.
Ooh, Ellie though finds that kill. Ian trying to play that aggressive angle again out towards B long. Ellie gonna be the benefactor of that one. Iconic just peeks narrowly, and Dizzy Life punishes him for it. The 1-for-1 across the map. The blade still online, and the heal now there for Ellie. Not going to necessarily top him off. Obviously, the armor taken off the board at only 90 health here in this one. They have all 4 players grouped up out towards this B side. Bob going to go up on top of the wall. Toxic screen is there, and the paint shell is going to deny for a second. No, the paint shell is going to find the player holding the spike. APOP falls, and Bob still unanswered for. Ellie does get the spike down. Shots should rain down. There it is, Bob finally from above. Able to get it done, and now it's all up to Sniper, who has seen better days here in this one in a 1v4. Blast packing around the corners. Plix and closing out the round is Crunchy.
Very nice retake there from the SONIQS. They lose Ian early on towards main. This is the first time that Virtuoso has been able to take this man down before he can pull off a multi-frag, but Dizzy immediately finds a shot in towards the A site, and before the spike's even really committed, the SONIQS are on the scene. They find the frags necessary to bring it back to their favor, and I mean, they didn't even have to really commit that much into that one. Only losing one body, they didn't put too much in way of ults, and that just hurts for Virtuoso because they had utility that they could have committed to try and close that out, but none was able to come out in time. Round was lost, but they do have some semblance of hope in this one because they have all right money. They've been able to buy, or at least force into some lighter weapons around some rifles, as well as having these 2 ultimates. Dizzy Life just taking these confident angles. Not able to get one this time, but Lin is sneaking up. Dizzy, though, ready for it. Finds the shot. Maybe a second for the jet. Won't happen, but they stay their advantage.
And Dizzy just so aware. Here's one. Tries to shoot through the wall, then eventually punishes Lin. Trying to use the ropes across. Here comes the Viper's Pit, but it's another showstopper. This time it's only the Sage that goes down, so Ellie is still able to hold it down inside of this, only for maybe a moment longer as Plix pushes through. They all get wiped up. In the blink of an eye, SONIQS find themselves a flawless round win.
9-2 right now for the side of the SONIQS. It doesn't even look like they're being contested in these rounds. Virtuoso really needs to shut down Dizzy, but they haven't been able to because they don't have a Sky, they don't have a breach, they have no flashes, they have nothing to cleanly get him off the line, and it's not like they even have an Omen where they can like put a new smoke down in a new position once they figure out where he plays. No, it's just the Viper. They have nothing to counter this guy out, and Dizzy's just farming as a result.
This was a very swift retake there for the SONIQS squad, and the Viper's Pit, it causes a whole lot of chaos, and unfortunately SONIQS, just like we saw Ghost Gaming earlier do, they thrive inside of that. They're able to find those kills, and when you're up 9-2, you have the confidence, and that's honestly what matters the most. Now Dizzy in that belt area. We've seen how this story plays out before with Iconics creeping up. Tagged out as Dizzy, though, by that Owl drone, and a kill to come on through, which means a rifle now in the hands of Ellie over towards this B side. Maybe could find a kill onto Bob to really open things up. Now, unfortunately, Ellie had called the team on over, but with that kill from Bob, B is now no longer the play, so they're stuck trying to get something done here out towards A.
Crunchy's line. Yep, gonna find the shot onto Sniper. Lin's up top. Crunchy ready for it. Could be able to find this one as well. Lin goes low. Crunchy!
Wow.
Oh, I mean, Dizzy rather, but still, the shots are just going insane from every member of this team. Dizzy just, we don't even really have time to talk about these rounds. Dizzy is just running through them.
Switching sides.
Yeah, I mean, you said it just a second ago, right? There's just no answer to that operator. Now, things, although look incredibly dire, Dizzy shouldn't have the same value, but this was You give Dizzy an inch, and he is going to find a frag. That's just what he was doing all game. He was doing it to Iconics. Anytime that Iconics just slowly crept out, whenever anybody was trying to jiggle peek, Dizzy found the shots on target. That's why he's 15-5. Now on the attacking side, obviously you don't have to walk into the operator like Virtuoso was doing. So maybe on the defense, it bodes a bit better for this squad. But this is still a very spooky spot, and I'm interested to see where these shock darts go. I'd imagine inside a kitchen. If Bob gets a kill with this, nobody's there, but if Bob does something crazy with this, I'm going to lose my mind. The lineups for this squad have just been so huge. Oh, that could be for a player, but quite possibly could be for an alarm bot as well.
Yeah, because the double bounce, if it kills an alarm bot there, you get the little call out that's like the Silva says trick shot if you kill or if you do damage or if you destroy utility with the double bounce. So that's why players have those really creative lineups. So that's really cool to see. Sorry, Bob, for showing that creative one, but it is what it is. Lynn has gotten aggressive here with the Sheriff, spots out some information. Now they're aware that this A play is an opportunity for Virtuoso.
We get the same Viper walls across the map. Ryan out towards B. Virtuoso for Ellie across the A site. Nothing tossed up just yet. Lynn feeling comfortable with the Sheriff in hand. And Plix just waiting for that recon bolt, expecting that one to come on through. 40 seconds remain. There's the recon. And not much to find off the back end. Lynn does spot one that is crunchy, and typically wherever your Sage is on pistol is where your team is going to be. Ian gets shot in the back. Iconic with a huge lurk there. Picks up one. Crunchy's able to trade that one back to the spike. Looks to get planted. Bob picks up a couple more, and Bob, the eco fragger here on pistol rounds, picked up 4 in the first. Now has a chance at 4 in the next. The remaining players pushing up towards heaven, and it screens. Maybe Bob doesn't get the kills, but Plix will be able to pick these ones up. Iconic's gonna get spotted out, takes down Dizzy. Now with that information, maybe Bob has to come back and find a couple more kills. Clock is ticking. Iconic's low on health. The wall goes down, and it's Plix instead. A double kill to close it out, and SONIQS to 11.
SONIQS up on 11 immediately here. I like how they were very slow. They were very controlled in that round. They don't initially over-aggress in towards A. Instead, they kind of scope out the B site, see what's going on over there, and then reassess, re-aggress, and find their way onto the site. Taking pistol rounds slow like that, I'm a fan of it because you can reveal so much information about how your opponent is set up, give you that information into the next, because now they know that there's likely to be a Killjoy towards B in this one, that there's likely not to be too much mid presence. Barring that Viper, they can play around that, and with only 2 rounds needed for them to close out this game 2-1 fashion, they're likely feeling fantastic. Lynn with the Marshall holds that line, but no one's really contesting him.
And Lynn forcing that one up. Again, feeling confident. It was a Sheriff in the pistol round. Now Marshall here in the anti-eco, making things a bit more digestible for that squad. As Dizzy Life hops onto the site. 6 rounds in the Sheriff. All going to go wide here as Dizzy tries to trade it back. It's Plix and Bob on the board. Ian to grab one as well. And now Iconic stuck on the opposite side of the map, who also forced up a Marshall. Might just look to save this one. 100 credits in the pocket. 5 members of SONIQS in front of him to try and grab a round. Doesn't seem a whole lot doable.
He's not even really committing into this one. Tucked in, trying to get some damage. He knows how confident the SONIQS are right now. He expects the SONIQS to push into him and make a mistake, give him some weaponry, but they're not even doing that. Ian hunker down towards mid, waiting for the possibility of a lurk up late from this KJ, but the round's lost. It's match point found for the SONIQS just off of a quick, pretty disrespectful push in towards the site. And for Virtuoso, very, very far away from being able to win this. All they can do is just take things round by round. If they can pull something crazy off, they can pull something crazy off. If they're not able to, it is what it is. They just can't let that big 12 on the board get in their heads. Round by round. That's all it is.
Yeah, this is a very tall task. They will have some weapons behind them. Sniper trying to live up to the name with just a Guardian. No shields to keep him safe. So we'll see if he can find a couple of headshots. You have to run right on into him. So again, the defensive end of things seem a bit better. This bonus round coming into it, though, it had a Vandal and it had a Bulldog. So it's pretty strong for this SONIQS squad. Bob looks to get some early information. Updraft for Dizzy to go up top. Clicks on top of pipes and playing on top of the ropes here. Dizzy Life finds a kill, able to dash away. 50 health will be topped off. So 100 for the Jet as Bob finds another kill. Unfortunately, that Guardian not able to net anything for snipers. Lynn trading. Okay, never mind. That was an observer swap. I thought we saw a crazy flick, but instead it was Lynn and Dizzy both getting on the board. Ellie to trade it back out, and Iconic in a tough spot. Has a Vandal in hand. Unfortunately, on the opposite side of the wall is Crunchy and just narrowly dodges out. Oh, I mean, it's insult to injury at this point. They just cannot find anything. There's the barrier orb. The snake bites missed. The turret missed. SONIQS close it out.